Chapter 5. A Disappointing Day. "So," said Kemal, "you realize you saw her, do you?" Kemal and Tom were sitting in the American bar at the Park Hotel. Tom thought carefully for a moment before answering. "Yes," he said slowly. "Yes, I do. You probably think I imagined it. I understand that. But I'm convinced I saw her, that's all." Kemal nodded. "I can't stop thinking about yesterday," Tom continued. "I close my eyes and I can see Angela there on the pavement. I can't forget that." "Listen, Tom," said Kemal. "We only met yesterday, but already we are friends. You're in my country, you're my friend, and you need help. If you think you saw Angela, that's enough for me. I believe you. Now we have to decide what to do." "There are two things I want to do as soon as possible," said Tom. "I want to go to the street where I saw Angela. Then I want to go to the British consulate. I have an appointment for this afternoon." "Okay," said Kemal. "The street where you saw Angela, do you think you can remember where it is?" "No problem," said Tom. "We can drive along the same route as the airport bus. I'm sure I'll remember it." "And what do you think you will find there?" "I'm not sure, but she was going into a building with two men. At least we can find the building. Maybe that will tell us something." "Okay," said Kemal. "My car is outside. Let's go." Tom and Kemal were driving through the city. "It was a wide street," said Tom. "We came to a roundabout after the traffic lights, and we turned left, then we passed an old aqueduct." "Aksaray," said Kemal. "It's near here." Kemal drove over Atatürk Bridge. After a few minutes, they saw the old aqueduct. Then they came to a large roundabout and turned right. "This is it," said Tom. "It's somewhere near here." They were approaching some traffic lights. Tom looked out of the window at the buildings on the left. "No," he said, "not here." They drove on to the next traffic lights. "This is it," said Tom. "This is the place." Kemal stopped the car. "You get out. I'll find the parking place." Tom got out and looked around him. He was in a wide street of shops and offices. A newspaper kiosk, a travel agency. He remembered them from the day before. He stood looking at the buildings opposite until Kemal arrived. Tom pointed across the street to the entrance to an office building. "That's it, I think," he said. They crossed the street and looked at the nameplate beside the entrance to the office block. There were many names: a dentist, a doctor, and many other offices. Tom stood looking at the names for a few moments. "Well," he said finally, "I'm sure she went into this building. But which office was she going to? Was she going to see a dentist or a doctor? How do we begin to find out?" Kemal took his arm gently and they walked slowly back to the car. "Listen, Tom," he said. "You're going too fast. You can't expect to find out everything immediately. Wait until you see the man at the consulate. After that, we'll think about it. Then we can decide what to do. We know she was going into that building. That's something in a way. Now look, it's lunchtime. You must be hungry. I know a good restaurant near here." "You're right," said Tom. "I have to be patient." Chapter 6. Visit to the Consulate. After lunch, Kemal drove Tom to the British Consulate in Mesrutiye Street. He stopped the car at the gate. "Well, good luck," he said. "I'll wait for you." Tom opened the car door. "It's very good of you to help me like this, Kemal. Thanks very much." "Not at all," said Kemal. "See you later." Tom went through the consulate gates. The old consulate with beautiful gardens round it looked like a palace. Tom pushed the big door open and went in. "I'd like to see Mr. David Pennington, please," said at the reception desk. My name is Tom Smith. I have an appointment. After a few minutes, a tall man wearing glasses came to meet him. Mr. Smith, my name's Pennington. How do you do? Said the man, holding out his hand. Tom shook Mr. Pennington's hand. How do you do? He replied. Come into my office, please, Mr. Smith. Mr. Dina told me you were coming. They walked up the beautiful staircase of the consulate and went into Mr. Pennington's office. Sit down, please, said Pennington. Mr. Smith, I'm very sorry about your fiancé. It was a great tragedy. Please accept my condolences. Thank you, said Tom. Mr. Pennington took 2 files from his desk. This is our report on the accident, he said. And this is the police report. I can give you copies of this, but perhaps you'd like to ask me some questions first. Tom thought for a moment. Mr. Pennington, he said, I think I saw Angela yesterday. Pennington stared at Tom. There was silence in the room. Pennington looked down at his desk, then he looked at Tom again. Tom was able to hear the noises of the traffic in the street outside the gardens. For a long time, Pennington said nothing. At last he spoke. Mr. Smith, he said, I don't think you fully understand. Your fiancé... I know, Tom interrupted. Angela was killed in a road accident last weekend. Her funeral was last Wednesday. Mr. Dina told me that this morning. But I'm telling you, I saw her yesterday. Mr. Smith, I think you should read these reports carefully before you say anything more. He passed the files over to Tom. Can I get you a cup of tea or something? A cup of tea would be nice, thank you. Pennington left the office. He came back a few minutes later with some tea. There was silence in the room while Tom read the reports. Presently, he looked up. After the accident, Tom asked Pennington, how did they identify the body? That was difficult, said Pennington. As you know, the accident happened on a dangerous road about 200 kilometers from here. Your fiancé's car crashed through a wall by the side of the road and fell down the hillside. The car burst into flames and was completely burned out. The body was very badly burned, so identification was difficult. But the police found your fiancé's handbag lying near the car. Her passport and papers were in the handbag. The police found out that the car was owned by a car hire company. Miss Thompson had hired the car for the weekend. What about Angela's parents? Tom asked. I'm afraid her parents don't know about the accident yet. They're on a camping holiday in France. The police are trying to contact them. What was she doing on that dangerous road? She spent the weekend in Bursa sightseeing. It's a very interesting old town. She was on her way back to Istanbul. Tom thought for a moment. And are the police quite satisfied? Tom asked. Yes, said Pennington. The police are convinced that it was an accident. The file is closed. And you people at the consulate, said Tom quietly, are you satisfied? For a moment, Pennington said nothing. Yes, Mr. Smith, we are, he said. Our job, among other things, is to look after British citizens in Turkey. We have looked into this matter very carefully, and we are satisfied that it was an accident. Tom said nothing. I really am very sorry, Pennington went on. I understand how you must feel. You've had a terrible shock. My advice to you now is to leave Istanbul. There's nothing you can do here. I'm beginning to think you're right, said Tom. Perhaps I should go home. You know, I really thought I saw Angela, but now... Where are you staying? Asked Pennington. The Ankara Hotel, near Taksim Square. Will you be all right? Do you know anyone here? I'm all right, thank you. I have a friend here. Well, Mr. Smith, please think carefully about what I've said. I hope you'll take my advice. If you need anything before you leave, contact me. I'll be glad to help you. Thank you, said Tom, standing up. Thank you for all you've done. Not at all, said Pennington. I'm sorry your visit to Istanbul wasn't a happier one. Have a good journey home. Goodbye. The two men shook hands and Tom left the consulate. Chapter 7. The Man in the Grey Raincoat. Kemal was waiting in the car outside the consulate gates. What did he say? Kemal asked as Tom got in the car. The same as in Young, Tom replied. It was an accident, Angela's dead, the file is closed. Kemal started the car and drove away from the consulate. Mr. Pennington advised me to go back to London, Tom continued. I'm beginning to think he's right. Kemal said nothing. The police think Angela is dead, and the people at the consulate do too. I'm the only person who doesn't think she's dead. So what am I going to do? Stay here in Istanbul? Go home? Really, I just don't... Now, wait a minute, Tom, said Kemal. How long have you been in Istanbul? Not very long. You've been here less than 24 hours, and what has happened to you in this time? You've had a terrible shock. You've been told that your fiancée was killed in an accident a week ago. But you're sure you saw her from the bus last night. So now you're confused, and you don't know what to do. That's right, isn't it? Tom nodded his head slowly in agreement. Well, I'll tell you what you're going to do, Kemal went on. You're going to come with me to the Topkapı Palace. We can walk through the beautiful gardens there and think about everything carefully. Then we can decide what to do next. Tom smiled. You're right, of course. It's been a difficult day. Exactly, said Kemal. Now it's time to relax a little. They were driving down narrow streets to the Golden Horn. This is the Galata Bridge. It crosses the Golden Horn, said Kemal. Look, isn't it beautiful? They drove slowly across the bridge in the bright sunlight. It's beautiful, said Tom, looking out across the Bosphorus. Very beautiful. They continued across the bridge, turned left, and drove past the railway station. A few minutes later, they came to Santa Sofia, one of the oldest and most beautiful buildings in Istanbul. It was once a church, then a mosque, and now it's a museum. We'll leave the car here, said Kemal. First, I'm going to show you the palace of Topkapı. They got out of the car in a large park. They were standing in front of the first gate of the palace. The Sultans of Turkey used to live in Topkapı Palace, Kemal explained. Kemal and Tom bought an entrance ticket. They walked through the gate into the gardens of the palace. This is the first courtyard of the palace, went on Kemal. Over there are the royal kitchens, and over there the harem. That's a part of the palace where the women live. They were walking down a wide path. Kemal looked round and then he took Tom by the arm. Walk a little faster, he said quietly. Tom saw that there was a strange look on Kemal's face. Is anything wrong? He asked. Keep walking, said Kemal, and don't look back. They walked across the courtyard towards the second gate of the palace. Kemal, what's wrong? Said Tom quickly. Someone is following us, answered Kemal. Someone following us? Said Tom. What do you mean? There is a man in a grey raincoat walking behind us. I saw him when we came into the palace. I wasn't sure at first, but now I'm sure. They walked on and then ran through the second gateway. Kemal looked back. The man was still following them. This way, quickly. Kemal led Tom to the entrance of the treasury. Inside, it was very crowded and it was also dark after the bright sunshine. We're going to separate now, said Kemal. The man won't be able to follow both of us. You take a taxi back to your hotel. Have you got some money? Yes, said Tom. Right, I'll phone you this evening. What are you going to do? Asked Tom. I'm going back to my car. Be careful, said Tom. You too, said Kemal. See you later.